What has been the biggest middle finger to fans in the history of TV shows? Adult Swim canceled Metalocalypse, and when fans launched a letter-writing campaign to bring it back, they aired a segment where they were feeding all the fan letters into a paper shredder. An old one, but on the last episode of Little House on the Prairie, they literally blew the entire town up with dynamite. Dallas. Bobby Ewing waking up in the shower and them writing off a whole season as just a dream. Playing Firefly episodes out of order intentionally was a pretty big dick move. That time they wrote Dr. Drake Ramoray out of Days of Our Lives because the actor said something stupid about the writers, and that pissed them off. Pushing Daisies. I know it was affected by the writer's strike, but that only cut the second season short. It could easily have been revived. Such a great premise and excellent cast. At least give us a movie. The ending of True Blood. One of the best parts of the show was the back and forth of who Sookie would end up with, only to end the show randomly, showing the back of the head of her new true love at a dinner table, a random guy nobody had ever seen in the show before until the literal last second of the show. Canceling Saturday morning cartoons completely on free broadcast TV in 2014. I feel so bad for kids without cable or streaming. They can no longer wake up to Saturday morning cartoons. Technically, there are still free Saturday morning cartoons on PBS Kids and MeTV Tunes. But these shows are either for young kids or grown-ups who want something nostalgic. Who has a better story than Bran the Broken? It was already dead by that point. But geez, they really had to twist the knife with that line. Killing off Dexter multiple times, then being like, just kidding. Pretty Little Liars fans spent years creating blogs and coming up with theories and basically doing the writers' jobs for them by coming up with all of these incredibly well-written directions that the show could take. Well, it seems like the writers absolutely hated that and decided to mesh 100 of the worst theories together to create a final season so horrific I can't even rewatch it. The first season of Our Flag Means Death was hugely successful. It had great ratings and was one of HBO Max's most popular shows at the time. Yet, the network decided to cut the budget and reduce the number of episodes for season 2. The second season of Our Flag Means Death was even more successful than the first. 45 times more successful than the average HBO Max show, in fact. It elevated the series to the status of most popular Max original. So naturally, the network decided to cancel the third season. Penny Dreadful. It was like John Logan sat down to write a season finale, and halfway through said, screw it, I'm done. Santa Clarita Diet. The show canceled on a cliffhanger. In Veronica Mars, killing Logan at the end of the series finale. Some choices on this list are just bad writing/endings, but this seems straight up malicious as there was no real rhyme or reason and nothing to gain from it. I'm fairly convinced it was done just to piss off fans. Canceling Mindhunter. My name is Earl. I just wish the network didn't pull the plug. The ending almost the whole last season of Killing Eve was a big one. How they ended Heroes. So much potential. Wasted. An entire season of Dallas in the mid-'80s was written off as a fever dream by one of the characters. I wasn't even a fan, and it put my nose out of joint. I think the way the original Roseanne went off the rails with winning the lottery, which actually was a dream because Dan died of a heart attack, etc. Still pretty pissed at how Santa Clarita Diet was finished/canceled. Biggest cliffhanger ever. Poochie left for his home planet in the second episode, and they never got to the fireworks factory. The Dexter finale, and they screwed it up not once, but twice. A fucking dragon learning the definition of irony at the last second and burning a throne. God, that was awful. Objectively God S8. My name is Earl. We never found out who Dodge's dad was and never will. While not the biggest, I've always really hated how 17 seasons of Stargate across 3 TV series culminated in a cliffhanger. I'll still always wonder what the secret was that so was fundamental that it had to be buried in the very cosmic microwave background radiation of the universe itself. Fuck you, sci-fi, for taking that away from us. South Park's revealing of Cartman's dad was an April's Fool's joke on the fans. The cancellation of Carnivale was the first. Travelers was also a big one for me. Season 4 of The Umbrella Academy. I re-upped my Netflix sub just to watch it, and it was poo-poo. The last episode of Star Trek Enterprise. Netflix canceling Mindhunter ostensibly because it was too expensive to produce. The Witcher. Letting Henry Cavill go is such a massive mistake. Terra Nova. Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch. Oh, you want to try and piece together clues to solve the mystery of how Holmes survived? Literally fuck you specifically, you nerd. Look at all of you and your nerd friends trying to solve mysteries like a nerd. But keep watching because maybe Sherlock, Moriarty, and Watson will all have a big threesome. You'd like that, wouldn't you? You fucking pervert. Either no one here has seen it or have forgotten from just a few months ago about the ending to The Umbrella Academy. The last episode of Game of Thrones. The last half of the last season of House of the Dragon. The entire last season of Westworld. Tragic. Ted getting back with Robin after the mother dies and his kids encouraging him. Netflix canceling Glow after originally renewing it for a 4th season. I understand why they couldn't film during COVID, but the story will be forever unfinished now. I still hold out hope for a wrap-up movie someday.